But remember, it's a cable network, so that means two things. One, it's dying from low viewership, meaning that they have to rely on acquisitions and content DreamWorks had from Netflix. But I think you forgot one thing. Yeah, dude, I think you left the worst ending for last. What is it? Oh my Celeste, you don't know? Yeah, man, you forgot? What is it? Universal Kids. No! Okay, so it's not that dramatic. Universal, bringing us family-friendly films like Minions and Shrek, Blumhouse content like The Purge and The Black Phone, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, and the Bourne films. They did work with Abbott and Costello. Their theme parks are the best ever. Yes, even better than Disneyland and World. Sorry, Mouse, but the globe is where I'm trotting to.
He'd better get it! Alright, now don't get excited.
Along with that, Universal also owned television networks like the USA Network, NBC, Sci-Fi, and a topic for this video, Universal Kids. They also own the streaming service Peacock, mainly because NBC's logo is a peacock. Universal Kids is the successor to PBS Kids' Sprout, which in turn is the successor to Cubo, which is an offshoot of the PBS Kids brand after the failure of the 24/7 channel. I didn't mention this in my previous videos, but Cubo replaced Discovery Kids, which spun into Discovery Family. Discovery Kids was the successor to TNBC, a teen-oriented block that was sort of like a Saturday morning block to them. Cubo was replaced by a Sprout-owned block, NBC Kids, which in turn was succeeded by The More You Know, a teen-oriented blog that, like TNBC, was aimed at providing educational content to teenagers. To compete with Disney Junior and Nick Jr. with their own blogs, Sprout had their channel aimed at preschoolers also called Sprout, to provide their originals such as The Chica Show. Around 2017, NBC announced that the Sprout channel will be rebranded as Universal Kids, which continues to this day. Oh. So yeah, it's closing its doors by the time this video is up, and it happened just 2 weeks after my PBS Kids video. How did I predict the future? I might as well say this out of the gate. I did not expect my Cubo and PBS Kids video to get popular. Cubo especially because I knew fewer people were going to know about it than PBS Kids. My Hasbro video was something alright, but Universal Kids is something I never thought of. To illustrate, I had never heard of Universal Kids until I was doing research for my PBS Kids video. Even if I never included it, I still would have never heard of its existence. Plenty of you viewers also likely never heard of it. Again, it's part of the Ultimate Edition of DirecTV, but it doesn't extend to Ultimate Editions. In formal terms, it refers to the paid networks. Networks not including the original basic cable packaging, but for $30 more or less depending on where you live, you can get more channels that you're not going to watch because you're simply not interested. You already have Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network for the kids, while the grown-ups get AMC, TBS, and TNT. There was no need to pay extra for Nicktoons or the Stars Network. This is what many grown-ups call basic cable.
We've got cable, and that's enough! All this talk about, where's it gonna end? Straight to f***ing hell, that's where.
The bare minimum of cable content for families to watch. Everything is here for the kids and us. Nothing can stop us now. There's no HBO or Showtime. They're locked behind the premium cable packaging? How will I watch Game of Thrones or The Last of Us? My wife wants to see Yellow Jackets. Whoever came up with this should be fired from their job. Thankfully, DirecTV also offers to pay for these channels separately, so we can finally see The Last of Us and Yellow Jackets respectively. But Universal Kids isn't included among the extra channels you could purchase, forcing you to buy the Ultimate Edition again, and we're back to the first problem. Universal Kids became heavily ignored by most cable network owners, and with that ending, I might as well explain why it failed its status as a network.
How do you know the ocean is friendly? Because it waves!
That is the worst joke I ever heard.
My previous video on Discovery Family will be brought up occasionally, and some of my points will likely be repeated here. So watch that one first and go back to this video for a refresher and some new information. But first, I don't classify myself as a cartoon reviewer. There are plenty of others you could watch out there. I am just here talking about the networks that run these cartoons that weren't Nick, Disney Channel, or Cartoon Network. Universal Kids will be dead by the time this video goes live. Unlike my PBS Kids video, it's important to acknowledge that the main problem of a network's failure isn't because cartoons were better when I was young, as I never grew up with the channel like with Discovery Family, but rather the poor decisions made by Universal themselves. Contrary to popular belief, I don't talk about the depth of a network as my main topic on this channel. The PBS Kids and Cubo videos were something I made as a hobby and a passion for both networks that either end in the gutter or a shell of its former self. But then this happened. I decided to focus on the next two networks, Hasbro's Discovery Family and this one. I'm not certain if this will be the last step of a channel video I'll work on because these three are still up and cooking, but I had to take a break from making these videos to focus on other projects. I have a life outside of YouTube, and if Universal Suits are watching this, I'll still go to your theme parks and watch your films, but you failed this network. You failed so hard that your subscription service that is Peacock is at the bottom of the barrel in terms of subscriber count.
Ooh. That's kind of small.
One of the early movie studios that made the Universal monsters that was so popular that they jumped the gun by emulating the Marvel Cinematic Universe have failed both the cinematic universe and the channel itself. So what killed it? Why was it met with either big no's to people who grew up with the channel, people celebrating its loss, or general apathy from me? Let's wait in line for Super Nintendo World, put on the VR headset attached with a Mario Kart ride, and blast those Koopas away. Also, stop looking at your drawing tablet. As one of the 5 major movie studios, and technically the oldest surviving, Universal grew in popularity thanks to their films. You have the Universal Monster Collection, Jurassic Park, you even dip your toes into action with the Fall Guy. Animation-wise, you come with DreamWorks and Illumination. Boy, those kids love those Minions. Besides Minions, Illumination had Sing, Secret Life of Pets, and of course, Super Mario. Hey Lois, remember that time when Universal sued Nintendo because they thought Donkey Kong was a ripoff of King Kong?
What's up now, bitches?
Beyond film came themed attractions. Similar to Disney, they flourished with their Universal Studios. Remember how epic it felt being on the Simpsons ride where you had to ride Sideshow Bob? Or how the Jurassic World ride sent you on a 80-foot drop soaking you wet? Fighting the Decepticons and Transformers the ride? Or being in the wizarding world of Harry Potter didn't make you a transfer just because you wanted to check out the Forbidden Journey? Having fewer rides compared to Disneyland make Universal favor quality over quantity. That's why the best theme parks were Universal Studios.
I don't give a fuck what you think!
Alongside the theme parks, Universal also broke into the television district. You all know NBC, but what you don't know was that they contributed to Cubo's creation. Watch the Cubo video right here. Besides Cubo, they are the brainchild behind Peacock. The streaming service being Universal's answer to Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and HBO Max. What made Peacock stand out from the competition was that they offered it for free. But for extra cash, you can get the premium version to watch more content. And since this was Universal, we can get quality content. I'm sorry to be fans, but the content on there was bad. Universal has a ton of over-the-air networks. Aside from the aforementioned NBC, they also own the USA Network and Sci-Fi.
Ah, chills. Literal chills.
You like to get purged and chucked? How about getting shot up by Shooter or hack like Mr. Robot?
I'm very different, too.
Depending on your view of these shows, there was something different for everyone at Universal. That is, except for one network. Mordecai, help me. The USA Network and Sci-Fi were meant for adults, not for kids. There were animation blocks for kids on both networks, but they were the really old ones that kids weren't interested in. They also aired some really funny shows. There was no joy in watching it other than taking the piss on it on YouTube.
You should know that we as consumers are better and smarter than
With the failure of both animation blocks on Sci-Fi and USA, Universal had to make their own kids network. Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel were steadily growing in their viewership. Meanwhile, a little network known as PBS decided to contact Universal for a network of its own. Thus, we have Sprout. Originally owned by both PBS and NBC Universal, Comcast then acquired NBC Universal and kicked PBS out of the network. Sprout continued with their broadcasting, trying to upsert Disney and Nick with their preschool channels, but decided around 2017 to rebrand the channel, Universal Kids. With that, NBC Universal acquired DreamWorks, meaning that they can air Shrek.
What are you doing in my swamp?
As Universal Kids continues, nothing can stop them now. Oh, poor viewership. In 2017, Universal Kids experienced a 30% decline in ratings, followed by a 17% drop in 2018. That was awful, even for a children's network. In June 2019, Universal Kids had laid off its development staff or moved into other Universal properties. With it being on its last legs, Universal Kids had all what content they got from DreamWorks. Some shows that aired on Universal Kids moved to Peacock, but viewership still tanked despite that. It ranked among the top 20 least viewed networks in Nielsen ratings. Even the Discovery Family channel got more views than that. Being one of the lowest ranked views in terms of your status as a network really made Universal realize that Universal Kids wasn't worth saving.
I'm done saving you.
Earlier this year, it was announced that Universal Kids was shutting down on March 6, 2025. At the time of writing and recording this script, it is still up, but by the time this video is released, it will be dead. I actively predicted its death unintentionally, and somehow I didn't get a "this age like fine wine" comment on my PBS Kids and Cubo videos. I didn't mean subscribers, people. Subscribers. In any case, how did Universal, a company that made Jurassic Park Far From Extinct, fail their children's network? PBS Kids released a line of mediocrity, but they are still standing. Cubo was bought out, and they were killed by the Swiss company. Discovery Family is dying from Hasbro's end, and Universal Kids became dead from a lack of interest. This is an unknown 9 level of failure.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
And now let's dig up that grave of the dead peacock. Enough peacocks. We're gonna get this out of the way first. You need to buy the paid networks to access Universal Kids. This means shelling out an extra $30 to get Universal Kids. The only reason you would buy Universal Kids is because it's Universal. Universal has DreamWorks and Illumination for the kids, but you can still watch content like that in theaters. You could buy DVDs and show them to the kids. There was no need to spend $100 per month just to watch Puss's Furry R's.
Hey, you wanna see something cool?
Most parents will buy a basic cable package that comes with the 3 kings of cartoon channels. Nick, Disney, and CN are considered to be the best cartoon channels that many still hold fondly to this day. I mean, they aren't doing well lately, but at least they can hold out longer than Universal Kids. The reason why they were the best channels was because they offered the best shows for a low cost to parents who could afford the basic cable package. You could pay for more channels, but you already had enough great shows. They get drowned out by junk you don't need, like that boring infomercial channel telling you to buy jewelry.
He wants the pig!
Or a very old show that only your grandpa would know of.
SpongeBob betrayed us!
And while you can tell what channels you're gonna get, thanks to this handy dandy chart DirecTV offers you, many of them are channels you aren't interested in. And for the channels you can invest in, does Sensation America about food and travel appeal to you? No? Good. Because you're stuck with it anyway. That was $120 well spent. Per month usually. 2 fully priced, likely high quality games, or a bunch of shitty ads with a few gems that total to that same amount. I prefer the 2 high quality games. You can't even tell what you watch on a channel you pay for will be the best show you ever watch, and honestly, I wouldn't blame you. Why would I want to spend $120 just to watch a poor man's MasterChef Junior? I could already watch it on an over-the-air network I could watch without paying a cent, aside from the electricity from running the TV.
That was delicious.
Seeing my dad asleep on the couch. I am silently crying, but I have no reason why. But that's my point. If the content is similar to others, what reason would be there to watch it for an average consumer? Concord felt this way, and I'm not going to talk about Concords because it's been done to death. This is another problem I brought up for Discovery Family and Cubo, but it mainly applies to Cubo. Airing repeats constantly will alienate viewers as they have already watched the show to its completion.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god, stop your fucking lying.
Even if you never watched these shows, Universal Kids' primary lineup consists of content DreamWorks has already released to Netflix under their DreamWorks Television banner. Titles like Trolls, The Beat Goes On, DreamWorks Dragons, The Adventures in Puss in Boots, and Dino Trucks. And that was just DreamWorks' end. They also aired reruns of American Ninja Warrior Jr., Pajanimals, and The Land Before Time animated series. Do you see the problem, Universal? Viewers could already watch them on other streaming services for a fraction of the cost. So guess what parents are gonna do? Kids just don't watch cable anymore. Streaming is cheap, easy, legal, and efficient. They'll just burn through content like a machine gun. Even without the DreamWorks content, there was also the PBS Kids lineup released when Universal Kids was under the Sprout banner. I don't need to stress this enough. Why would you air content that was already on a free channel on a cable network, but not one was original material? Passing on PBS Kids, there was nothing for viewers to watch besides The Leftovers that many kids weren't interested in. Straight up generic slop. Or they were so obscure that I never knew they existed until doing research for this video. I never knew Gordon Ramsay's daughter had a reality show, Bear Grylls made another one, or that this one existed.
Perfect.
Nothing original made it noteworthy to a new generation of viewers, and these shows became forgotten in time. Whenever they did air original content, well... Besides SpongeBob and Loud House, I can name Rocko's Modern Life, Rugrats, Hey Arnold, Jenny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Avatar, and Max and the Midnights without having to look at Nickelodeon's catalog of great shows. You know what Universal Kids had that was original and good? Nothing! Many Universal Kids lineup was filled with generic content. Does a superhero show about superpowered birds catch your interest? It may be to some of you, but it didn't get the interest of a majority of the audience. They already have the Owl House right there. They could watch Cocomelon.
What the fuck?
Somehow they got Cocomelon, but even with Cocomelon, they failed as a network. They had Where's Waldo, but even that wasn't strong enough to get people turning. And to be honest, I didn't know DreamWorks made a Where's Waldo cartoon until I was researching for this video. DreamWorks television content of the current era isn't as strong as, say, Penguins of Madagascar or Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness.
Predator, deceiver, carnivorous charlatan.
I mean, the only show I enjoyed was the Captain Underpants show, and they didn't even air it on Universal Kids. Ignoring DreamWorks content, Illumination has to create TV shows based on their properties or original content, sticking with movies because it made more money from them. It makes sense from a business insider perspective that the Minions make a crap ton of profit in film. There was no need to watch more Minion Mayhem from home. Their Minion Mayhem ride at Universal Studios was fantastic, the best children-friendly ride at the park. And I'm sorry Secret Life of Pet fans, but the ride there was dog shit. Even without Illumination and DreamWorks for Universal Kids, a majority of the content was fucking boring.
It's so boring.
A majority of the content was recycled reality content from other more successful reality shows or preschool shows that simply weren't enough to get the viewers' attention. Even if Universal Kids had one good show, it wouldn't have been enough to save the network. Jumping into the world of gaming, besides Mario and Zelda, I can name Pokemon, Kirby, Fire Emblem, Advance Wars, Metroid, Bayonetta, Pikmin, and Star Fox as reasons you would buy Nintendo. Spider-Man, Astrobot, God of War, Ratchet & Clank, The Last of Us, and freaking Uncharted as why you would get a PlayStation. Halo is Xbox. And Microsoft buys out a lot of gaming studios to develop games on their platform. In other words, these franchises are the reason why you would buy a system. This is why competitors like the Stadia fail to stream. There isn't a strong library of games to encourage you to play the system. Even if Stadia made one great game, that wouldn't be enough to get players to switch. You have to offer a variety of great new content to make viewers watch your channel. A constant string of mediocrity or old content isn't enough to win them over. Viewers, especially children, will naturally go to the network they are familiar with if nothing new or great is being offered. There's a reason why Universal Kids ceased with the original content in 2019. Kids are watching on tablets and phones. It's all streaming from here. Now that I mentioned that, so one day, Universal saw how well Prime Video and Netflix were doing and said, let's do that. So they released their streaming service, Peacock. When you hear of Peacock, the first that comes to your mind is Lord Shen.
The year of the peacock begins now.
The second thing that comes to your mind is that yes, Universal has a streaming service and you don't know it. Peacock had one card in the hole to stand out from the competition. It was free.
Free.
Universal content made for us that was free? Sign me up! I jumped the gun when it was announced that Peacock was free. That was far from the case. Peacock does let you watch for free, but to access more Universal content, you have to pay at least $5 to $10 per month. Without it, you can only access a paltry amount of Universal content with ads. Not gonna lie, that's a case of some false advertising. My stupid ADHD mind assumed it would be free because it said it was free. My deduction seemed reasonable, and I was heavily misled. While there was nothing wrong with the marketing, it wasn't until January of 2023 that we get an update on Peacock's pricing. Peacock has gained roughly 21 million subscribers. That sounds like an excellent amount for a 2.5-year period when the service first launched. But compare this to roughly Netflix's 230 million subscribers and Amazon Prime's 200 million, Peacock was behind by 1/10 of the amount. That meant for every 10 Amazon Prime and Netflix users, only one also owned Peacock. And if that doesn't summarize my point, I have 200 subscribers as of me making this video. That is a lot from just 2 videos I uploaded that did crazy for someone like me. But when you compare yourself to much bigger channels like Just Stop and Cartoonshi who have 200 to 300k subscribers, this is a night and day difference. While they're busy battling out over their cheapyverse videos, I asked you not to watch these videos in your recommendation bar out of spite, and to watch my channel instead. What would be Universal's answer to this? Remove the free tier for new customers.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard.
An NBC spokesperson has stated that removing the free tier will better focus on the platform's brand and offer a unique experience to new customers. Existing users on the free tier could still access Peacock content. This was met just about as well as you expect from me. I expected everyone to be pissed at this, but it's not like everyone was mad at this. More on that later. But tragically, new users cannot get access to a streaming service that sells itself as free in the old commercials. Someone sued Peacock for false advertising. But I feel there is something far more sinister underneath the bridge. The best I could think is that most customers would only watch one episode of a show before they decide to watch more. One episode would be enough to get an idea of what the show is about. And because some movies were available for free as late as 2022, viewers could catch up on anything they missed while it was in theaters. So yes, Peacockers were mainly using Peacock for free instead of buying it, so Peacock removes a free tier for any newcomer. As for myself, I am a lucky duck. I signed up for Peacock way before the service shut down its free tier. I could still access Peacock content, but then there were rumors that Peacock would remove your access to the service altogether even if you were subscribed to the free version. But since I still use the site for the sake of research, this is a big pile of bird shit. But the scary thing is that free users can still access Peacock for now. Now, the rumors could still be true even though it hasn't happened yet. Ignoring the free tier, how about the paid versions? Streaming services nowadays allow you to watch shows and movies with ads in exchange for a lower price. Netflix locks movies and shows behind their Netflix standard plan. To some viewers, that was bad. But since we could still watch Stranger Things and Squid Game, this was a-okay for me. A 30-second ad is not a death sentence. A trick island is that whenever an ad plays after watching a Triangle Soldier execute a player, I could just browse on my phone. Peacock also offers an ad-supported tier, but there's also an ad-free tier for $14 per month. But due to licensing and streaming rights, a select select few of Peacock's content will still have ads. Imagine watching Megamind Rules and suddenly get an ad for Universal Studios just as Megamind fires his dehydration gun. Yeah, so some Peacockers will be very unhappy that they were misled. Again, while it is still cheaper compared to Netflix, the service itself is far from ideal. It's nightmare rocket fuel. But as you wait for the service's impending doom, we should take a look at Peacock itself. While the interface is fine and serviceable enough, it doesn't have the polish to say Netflix. And while watching movies and TV shows is easy, I'm not certain about the service's future. We're going to repeat the points I mentioned in my lack of good shows chapter here. What is good on Peacock? Can't answer? Great! Because there aren't any memorable shows on the service, so they have Poker Face and Twisted Metal. But even with these two, it still wasn't enough to get viewers to notice. To further my point, compare this to Netflix and Amazon where they have content as big as Stranger Things and The Boys. Disney Plus has Star Wars and Marvel content. HBO Max has DC, Adult Swim, and Warner Brothers. Paramount Plus has Paramount Films, Knuckles, and Halo, unfortunately. Peacock may have Universal content, but the films that define them like Blumhouse and Jurassic Park aren't even on the service. You may find some loan installments in their respective franchises, but a majority of consumers wanted all of the content. They don't want to shell out more dollars on other services just to watch the movie they want to watch. And the content they do have on the service are either forgettable DreamWorks shows like Where's Waldo or We're Bad, like They Them.
Do you think your parents are disappointed in you? Sometimes.
Even if the show is based on a popular franchise like John Wick, the TV tie-in, The Continental, barely had anyone talking about it. Even with a AAA game coming, no one talks about the John Wick spin-off. It was not the Penguin level of incredible. It may have Mel Gibson, but the Penguin had Colin Farrell. Then there's content like Linky Box and Ryan's World. Yes, Peacock got so desperate that they relied on influencers to boost their subscriber count. It didn't work out, and now since Beast Games was popular and other streaming services are taking notice of this, I want to say that creativity is dead, and I like hope of pitching my concept to Hollywood. And it doesn't help that they also have the Ryan's World movie on here. One of the worst theater experiences I ever had. My bike got fucking stolen. I'm fucking losing my goddamn mind. It was so fucking shit. I can't take it. Now you wonder what Universal Kids has to do with this. The answer is stupid easy. Peacock became a second Universal Kids for the parents subscribed to the service. Even that wasn't enough to get kids invested. You know what a kid was watching when I walked inside a local grocery store? Bluey, but with memes and Leggy Box style editing. How would you feel if I put random gameplay for you to watch while hearing me talk? That's not great content. It makes me want to end it. Even with the removal of the free tier, that wasn't enough to get viewers to subscribe. As of the writing of the script and recording, Peacock has gained 36 million subscribers. But compared to Netflix's 300 million, and you have Peacock once again falling behind by 1 Peacock subscriber per 10 Netflix customers. That isn't good for Peacock. And like I said, Netflix and Amazon Prime have a more prolific library of excellent shows. Peacock has only 2 memorable shows, and I haven't seen anyone talk about Twisted Metal with Captain America himself, based on a PlayStation product that hasn't seen the light of day as late as 2012. We are starting to get great movie and TV show adaptations of video games on streaming services. The Last of Us, Mortal Kombat, Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Bros., Fallout. And while Peacock has Twisted Metal, it wasn't enough to win viewers over. Why can't you get a series on Kingdom Come Deliverance? To illustrate the desperation of Universal, in 2023 when I went to Universal Studios Hollywood with a friend of mine, I was offered a Peacock Premium subscription along with my ticket. I never used it, and the subscription expired anyway, so I can't give it out to all of you. But the fact that Universal bundled Peacock with a theme park ticket meant that they were doing anything they could to get people to buy Peacock. Imagine if Disneyland did this. Whenever you buy a Disneyland ticket, Disney Plus is bundled with it. 6 months of Disney Plus to be precise. So sure, Peacock may not cost much to begin with, but like I said earlier, the content on Peacock was not worth watching. That's why I never used it, and the content that was released was so bad that not even Megamind can dehydrate it. Bundling failing products with other more successful products meant either two things. 1, it's so good that people are buying it just to watch it, or 2, the company didn't have faith in the product, so they bundle it with a more successful product just to get buyers. That's why the PlayStation Classic failed. Aside from a poor library of games, lackluster interface, poor controller, and a mixing of European and American versions of games, Sony had to bundle the PlayStation Classic with the new models of the PlayStation 4 just to get the consoles they tried to copy with the SNES Classic Edition off of store shelves. Despite being from a different niche, Universal didn't seem to learn from PlayStation's failure. Peacock is not worth getting now. I tried to have faith, but there wasn't for Peacock. I think we should have elected for the birds.
As of 2023, I was honestly expecting to find this channel as a whole was just in the grave.
Goodbye, Universal Kids. With the death of another channel reaching its close, the world was met with apathy, followed by 12-year-old deviants who can't edit uploading videos of cartoon characters crying that the channel is dead.
No!
followed by me being apathetic. Unlike everyone else, I did not take joy in a product's death. I just stared endlessly into the abyss. Children's content that originally appealed to millennials, Gen Z, and early Gen Alpha were dead, and it cannot be resurrected again. As people filed complaints on Twitter on how children's content today is Cocomelon or AI-generated slop, the lights of nostalgia have shut down as these people enter their adult years, and they won't be flicked back on again. The death of a channel as of now has reached its end. I get comments to do the big three like Disney Channel, Nick, and CN, but you can already find videos based on the channel's death. There's a particular reason why Sony doesn't have a definitive streaming service or a channel of its own. They have Crunchyroll and Crackle, but neither of those compete with Prime Video or Netflix. And Crackle especially was sold to a company called Chicken Soup for the Soul. They're known for their books, also called Chicken Soup for the Soul. But recently, Crackle filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which evolved to Chapter 7 bankruptcy, meaning that Crackle has to be liquidated to make back its money. So Crackle is dead, and Crunchyroll is still around. But who uses this? Anime may be popular, but I'm not an anime nerd like everyone else. I'd rather not get into Crunchyroll and its faults, but I recommend watching some other videos on Crunchyroll's issues. Sony didn't see a future in streaming and decided it would be better to license their shows and movies to third-party services. That's why we had The Last of Us on HBO, Twisted Metal on Peacock. Hey, I talk about that one, The Boys, and God of War on Amazon Prime. It was cheaper and easier for Sony to develop shows for other streaming services, and looky, it paid off for them. And it also helped that unlike every other streaming service, Sony wouldn't have to remove content if they had a definitive streaming service themselves. Universal Kids, however, with Peacock, was extinctly dead. When it was announced that it was shutting down, I tried to reach out for support from Universal Kids, but I was met with a dead end, so I wasn't even able to get any last words from them. Universal Kids will live on in the memory of those who grew up with Sprout and Universal Kids. Many of you viewers have never heard of Universal Kids and only click on this video because my previous 3 did so well that you want to forward from me. And while I do enjoy making these death of a channel videos, I have a personal life going on and constant burnout is setting severe amounts of fatigue in them. This will be the last death of a channel video for now until CN, Nick, and Disney bite the dust. The alternate children's channels will stay closed forever. Besides PBS Kids, they still have government grants. But remember, defunding PBS became trending on Twitter after they reported a Nazi salute. Can you imagine if PBS was actually defunded, forcing them to shut down PBS channels? We wouldn't get Arthur, we wouldn't get Sesame Street, we wouldn't get Cyber Chase, no more Call the Collector. Even though I expressed disapproval of PBS Kids' current content, I wouldn't want to see it crumble. I don't have control over our network's finances and stock, but PBS really made everyone sour over that report.
What?
Oh no!
Can't be!
With PBS Kids dead from Nazis, if they do shut it down, a generation of people will come together to reminisce fond memories they have of the channel, the games they play on the website, and thankfully they are preserved thanks to Flashpoint, but a majority of viewers do not know about this. But with the removal of most PBS Kids, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney Channel's games, along with Club Penguin, there aren't any safe spaces for children to be on the web. Many millennials and Gen Zers look back fondly at these high-quality websites and the high-quality games that they resort to archiving for nostalgic purposes. But kids won't play these archived Flash games. They'll resort to apps. Archived Flash games are for adults. With Club Penguin and a majority of Flash games being lost, kids move on to Twitter and YouTube for entertainment. And look what's going on. They're being subjected to brain rot or be brought into politics where to be groomed with left or right-wing ideologies. Can you imagine we have anti-woke content being aimed for children? It's happening currently. Universal Kids is no different. Their games library will be gone. Their website will be gone. The content will move to Peacock, where they'll likely be subjected to removals like with HBO Max, Paramount Plus, and Disney Plus. With the lack of a killer show, an expensive invite key, and a streaming service that fell behind Paramount's attempt, I never thought an event like the announcement of Universal Kids shutdown would occur just as it was ending my Kibo video. In hindsight, it will gain a cold following for those who grow up with the network, but many never hear of its existence while Universal Kids dies a slow, painful death, all alone. The era of Sprout/Universal Kids was officially over. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to stay out of cringe.